Don't stop.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me on the Everything and Anything in a Big A podcast. I'm Zach Randles-Friedman, the host of the show that you're listening to. So thanks for joining me. I wanted to make an official announcement. I am no longer working a full-time corporate job. I have dedicated my full-time career to doing this podcast and my other podcast, Listen Up Girl. And I am doing that full-time. And I look back now and I'm like, how was I doing these podcasts as a side job, which is really another full-time job, and doing my corporate job? Because every night after work for my full-time job that I was doing, my corporate life, I was focusing on my podcast and staying up late until midnight. And then weekends, like all weekend long, that's what I was doing, scheduling interviews and doing ideas and edits and strategy and all this stuff. And I wake up every morning now. I'm able to sleep in a little longer than I did when I had a corporate job. But I have a full day. Like I have a whole list of stuff that I have to do every single day. And I want to do more planning. And I've redone my website. So if you haven't checked out my website, check them out because they're brand new. Everything and anything podcast.com. And my other website is listenupgirl.com. And Listen Up Girl is a news podcast where I do LGBTQ plus news at least 6 days a week. And I'm giving you like authentic, not fake news. And it just, I love that podcast. And I get the responses that I get from like, thanks for bringing the news. Thanks for keeping us informed. The community informed is just really great. And I'm happy I'm doing that. I took a break from that Listen Up Girl podcast last summer for a few weeks. And then I got some DMs and emails from people saying, why did you stop? Like we like it and it keeps us informed. And so I think it got hard, like where you get sick, like where people take breaks from the news. And I had to do that from doing the news because I'm just like, it's all so negative and stuff. But now I look for positive news. Still more than 50% of the news is not super positive right now, but that's just the world we're living in. But I think it's so important to stay informed and to really know what's happening in the community so you can take the right actions and do the right things and stuff to, make sure that we're not being pushed out of this world, and that's what a lot of people want to do. They don't like the LGBT, not a lot of people. A certain group of people do not like the LGBTQ plus community. There's so many anti-trans laws and anti-LGBTQ laws that are happening across not just the United States, but across the world. And I think that just staying informed and knowing what's happening and what's going on is so important. And, I think that all this negativity in the world has brought the LGBTQ plus community closer. Because I think at one point it was gay men were in their own circle and lesbians were in their own circle and transgender people were in their own circle and the bisexual people were in their own circle. And now I think that, the entire LGBTQ plus community is coming back together in a lot of ways, which is really awesome to see. And, you can see it whenever they have the No King's Day protest and, the anti-trans protest. You see everybody showing up from all walks of life. You see the straight allies there. I think in a lot of ways, all this negativity that's happening at the end could somehow be worth it. I know that's really hard to imagine or think about how it could be worth it, but I think it will, because I do think it's bringing people together. I think it's making people that were on one side of the fence kind of think about what's happening. Is this really what I voted for? Is this really what I wanted? So I'm looking at it as through a positive lens that everything happens for a reason. And, we're going through all this negativity in the world and all this sadness and loneliness and people trying to pull apart communities and all the horrible ICE incidents that's happening. And, I really do. I feel like at the end of the day, there'll be a reason why all this happened and it's going to make the world a better place. And let's just all hope. Let's all manifest good vibes and stuff. And hopefully we will be past all this very soon. I just for some reason, my gut feeling, I just had this intuition that there's a change coming, and it's going to be a very positive change for everybody. And as you read things online or you watch videos on YouTube Shorts or TikTok or Instagram, that's what everybody's saying. I feel something's coming. There's a change coming. There's a change coming. And I really do believe there's something positive coming for all of us. So anyway, I hope you enjoy my guest today. Her name is Deborah, and she has an amazing device. I actually have it right here. I bought it. I just got it in the mail. It is called HeartMath, and it is a device that kind of, I don't want to ruin the interview, but it's a device that it's a sensor that you can put on, and it kind of helps you rebalance yourself from anxiety and helps you with sleep. And Deborah will explain it much better in our interview than I could. But I bought it, and I'm going to try it this weekend. I'm going to charge it. I'm going to use it. And Deborah is I love talking with her. She was a great interview, and I hope you enjoy it. And leave a comment. I need comments on my podcast. I need to know what people are thinking. So leave a comment and let me know what you thought about this episode and what you thought about Deborah. So thanks so much for listening. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me in the Everything and Anything in a Bit Gay podcast. Today, I have an amazing guest on my show, and I can't wait to talk to her about stress, because we all are feeling the stress right now in this world and what's happening. And I want to welcome Deborah Rozman to the show. So, hi, Deborah.
Hi there, Zach. I'm so grateful you've invited me.
Yeah, I did some research on you, obviously, before you came on the show. Once I found you, or you found me, however we found each other. and I think what you're doing is pretty fantastic. And I'll let you kind of explain in a moment just kind of what you're doing for the world. But there's just, there's all this crazy stress that's happening, and people are stressed out more than ever in this world. And, with wars happening and all the, not to get political, but all the politics that happen in the world and stuff like that. And just, it's one crazy story after the other when you turn on the news. And I think people are avoiding the news and stuff at this point. So tell me about how you help people, how did you get there? What made you want to do this?
Absolutely. Well, I'm a behavioral psychologist by background, and HeartMath is a company that I helped our founder, Doc Childry, start in 1990 because he had this vision which resonated with me from my work I was doing in psychology, that stress would keep increasing because we'd get more interconnected and we'd be in each other's spaces and worlds, and from different worldviews, different biases, different backgrounds, different religions. But when you put them so closely together, whether it's on social media or other interconnections that we have cross country because you can travel so much, anyway, that's bound to create stress. We either grow from it or we blow from it. And what's happening, he had this vision that about now, stress would be increasing so much that people needed a research-based program, a system where they could reset, reboot their internal operating system quickly, realign, release stress so it doesn't accumulate and cause health problems, and be able to create through these changing times. And so we started the HeartMath Institute as a nonprofit to research how the heart and brain and nervous system talk to each other and see if we could create a simple system, not based on any religion or belief system, but on physiology of how we can learn to reset, reboot our stress response. And what we found looking at various forms of biofeedback, brain waves, skin response, EKG. And then Doc one day said, look at the spaces between the heartbeats. And we went, what? But we did. And there was something called heart rate variability back then, used for fetal monitoring. And we end up looking and analyzing Fourier transforms and patterns. And what we found is that when you look at the heart rate variability, beat to beat to beat changes in heart rate, they don't stay the same like a metronome. They change according to our emotional state.
Oh.
our feelings are directly mirrored in this heart rate variability pattern in 20 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes. You look at it over time. And what was astounding, and this research was published in the American Journal of Cardiology in 1995 as the first discovery of how emotions affect heart rate variability, heart rhythms, that when you're feeling anxious, stressed, impatient, frustrated about how we all are having to handle right now, your HRV pattern, not amount, which is what the wearable devices measure, but the pattern, creates a real jagged, irregular pattern. Like it's the autonomic nervous system, like driving your car with one foot on the brake and one foot on the accelerator. It burns gas and it's a herky jerky ride. Well, that stressful pattern, it gets stronger according to how strong we're feeling it. It was just blow away how it was a mirror. Then we found that when you're feeling calm, loving, caring, gratitude, peaceful, all the qualities long associated with the heart, kindness, that jerky pattern turns into this beautiful rolling hill, sine waves, like the nervous system is in balance, and the sympathetic and parasympathetic are dancing with each other. And we went, wow, can we help people shift quickly out of that stress pattern into that smooth, what physics calls a coherent waveform? And what we found is, yes, very simple technique, which I can share with the listeners to make that shift, and you feel it. And you go, wow, now I can have agency over my emotion. I can regulate, and you're regulating your nervous system. And it's so powerful because then we started research, what happens in the brain?
Yeah.
When you shift that heart rhythm. And what happens is the pattern, the frequency is sent from the heart through the vagal nerve to the amygdala, the emotional memory center, the thalamus that synchronizes cortical function. And when you're feeling stressed, that signal is fight, flight, fright. The higher brain centers for reasoning and intuition shut down and you're in survival mode.
Yeah.
But when you're feeling calm, loving, caring, appreciative, kind, all those genuine, heartfelt feelings, and that rolling heel signals the brain centers that all is in harmony and opens up and awakens cortical facilitation of the frontal lobes and the higher brain centers where we have compassionate understanding, intuition, executive decision making, see the bigger picture. So now we went, wow, we could develop some techniques and tools for people to reset their stress response to access that bigger picture and see the problem they were stressing about from a new perspective. That's super exciting. And now there's over 500 independent research papers from other institutions based upon HeartMath's discovery of how that helps health, performance, athletic performance, meditation, mindfulness, anything.
And so is it measuring, is HeartMath measuring though, like that stress that you're having and helping you kind of regulate it?
Yes, it's measuring through sensors like this one.
Okay.
Where you put it on your ear and you clip it and you link it up to the HeartMath app. And it shows you that HRV pattern. And you see the reflection of how you're feeling. And then it teaches you the technique, quick coherence technique, to how to shift it in the moment to that other pattern, that coherent pattern.
Yeah.
That gives you a leg up, because if you try to shift out of stress through mental affirmations alone, or through a visualization, or through just deep breathing, it doesn't often shift. But if you shift through changing your physiology, your heart rhythm pattern, that powers up your intention, and it powers up your mental clarity and your intuition. It gives you so much more power to shift. And this is not a relaxation state. This is where you're both relaxed but energized and present. Coherence is an incredible, optimal functioning physiological state, mentally, emotionally, and physically.
And the app is telling you what to do to get there.
Yeah, that's exactly. It's showing you, so you're measuring it. You're measuring your coherence level or incoherence level.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's guiding you through a series of techniques, depending on what you want to use it for, to get into coherence. So once you're in some coherence, it helps you build like 4 days to better sleep, because stress accumulation really disrupts sleep.
my sleep is horrible. I need to buy this product as soon as we hang up because
We all need it. It is just like you save money, you save time.
yeah,
It gives you power over what's going on inside. And we all need that these days for resilience, for being able to not only handle the news
yeah,
and the higher gas prices and the unpredictability. That's a lot of what's going on. My gosh, what's going to happen next week? There's
yeah,
a lot of fear and anxiety. What you want to do, because if you don't reset that, it accumulates and it affects your decision making. It gives you brain fog, affects your health, and especially your sleep. So what you want to do is let's reset that into inner harmony and coherence. Take charge. And then often what happens is you see intuitively some new options, like, this has happened over and over. I am not going to get all sucked in again. I'm going to
yeah,
maintain my inner balance and make better decisions for myself and my family, and see how I can serve and be creative. And that creates a virtuous cycle of intuition of these heart qualities of care,
yeah,
compassion, kindness, where we want to live to have a quality life.
yeah. And we'll be right back. Okay, now back to the show. I mean, the world needs more kindness, and people need to feel more kind. So I think this
Right.
is it's exactly what people need. I mean, I have friends that I feel like are stuck in this kind of chronic stress mode in a way, I would say, where they just can't get out of it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of a couple of friends in particular where
Yeah.
everything they do is a stressful moment. They're constantly late, they're stressing out about work, they're stressing out about children, they're stressing out about everything. They can't find things, they lose things, their mind's all over the place. I mean, and it's all like stress related, and it's just
Right.
and like is this common that you hear this story often from people about they just can't seem to get their life
Right.
together because of stress?
It is very common and more than you know, because not everybody voices it, but that's a vicious cycle, because what happens when you have that stress response that you haven't reset
Hmm.
or cleared in the moment, it accumulates and accumulates, and imbalanced hormones,
Hmm.
an imbalanced immune response, very often rapid heartbeats or arrhythmias, high blood pressure,
Yeah,
and fuzzy thinking. And then it builds on itself. And so we get stuck, we get caught, and we don't have to. And then it becomes habituated, like you don't know what to do because you're out of sync all the time.
yeah,
What you want to do is use a simple HeartMath technique or another technique that's been scientifically validated, like HeartMath, or the technology, and you want to reset the heart rhythm pattern, the heart rate variability. That's going right to the heart of the matter,
yeah,
no pun intended, because that drives the brain and nervous system. It signals the rest of the body, and the autonomic nervous system. By the way, Zach, your listeners will be wanting to understand this, which is what coherence balances.
hmm,
Controls 90% of the body's involuntary functions:
oh,
immune response, hormonal response, digestion, elimination, sleep. So when that is incoherent, out of balance from stress reactions, then it creates this cascade of 1,400 neurochemicals that your inner pharmacy is producing, like cortisol, the stress hormone. And it's all to protect you. It's the body's mechanism for survival and protection. But we don't want to live there all the time, because then we
no,
get stuck. So what HeartMath researched at the HeartMath Institute, what we've developed techniques and simple tools, as simple as we could get them, and technology, is for people to be able to reset that, get nervous system regulation.
And then is it training the nervous system in a way? So
Yes.
okay.
You retrain the nervous system until you have a baseline change.
Yeah.
So that if you were just being hooked up in our lab to our heart rate variability sensor and platform, you're in your resting state, you would have a lot of natural incoherence in there if you've been stressed a lot.
Yeah.
And we can see the pattern. Now, if you build coherence, just practicing even just 5 minutes a day, you in just a few weeks increase your resting baseline coherence. So you're walking around more in that easeful, calm state of flow. And it can be trained very quickly. That's what's so exciting.
And stress causes so many things, right? I mean, it causes future problems, from what I've kind of done research on or just read online, like Alzheimer's disease, like all these different diseases that stress could possibly be causing these other diseases. So are you kind of thinking about that whenever you're helping people? So not just to live an unstressful life as much as they can, but thinking about how stress impacts the entire body and how, it just, people can live a longer life possibly by doing these methods, I'm assuming.
Absolutely. Well, we have, as I said, there's 400 independent studies about how stress affects blood pressure, sleep, even how it affects amyloid plaque in the bloodstream in early dementia. And there's a new study about to come back showing that using heart rhythm coherence training in a short period of time, you actually can reverse amyloid plaque and early dementia. That is profound because you're changing the internal nervous system and internal hormonal and immune responses. And you're doing it. Nothing's doing it to you. You're learning how to do it. So what's so beautiful is we're all going to have stress triggers.
Yeah.
We're wanting to reduce the amount of time they really bump us. They really throw us out of sync. And if they do, how to build back, how to get back to the heart, how to get back to that heart coherent pattern. You can use the technology 5 minutes a day to really know and develop an inner reference of when you're in coherence. And then you use the technique that got you there throughout the day, like heart focused breathing or the quick coherence technique that synchronizes the heart and brain. You use it before that difficult phone call or after that email that triggered you and before you respond and regret what you said.
We've all been there.
We've all had that. I'm sure your listeners can relate to that. Then you actually stop, do a 1-minute technique, get recentered, get your heart and brain in sync, get the bigger picture, and often your own intelligence will say, you don't want to send that. You know where that's going to lead.
Yeah.
Here's a better response, something that's effective, that's still honest and authentic, but it's not venting. It's not something that's going to create all sorts of backwash for you or the other.
What do you think the biggest mistake is that people make when they're trying to manage their stress? Because, I think that, I hear, my friends saying, oh yeah, I just breathe. Like I breathe and count to 10 and then I start feeling better. But then I feel like in an hour later, they're back to where they were before they did their breathing thing and they counted to 10. Or, right before this interview started, a friend called me and was walking home from work in New York City. And he's just like, oh, I'm just so tired of this. I'm tired of that. And he's like stressed about this and that. And I feel like he's going down a rabbit hole where he's just not, it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And every time I talk to him, it seems like he's more stressed and he's like, I'm talking to my therapist and it's not working and I don't know. And I still feel all this anxiety and stress in my life. So, and it sounds like he tried this method, maybe this would be a step for him.
Well, when we've done, we have over 14,000 pre and post assessments
Okay.
of organizations that had their employees learn this technique, and we see the technology, the biofeedback, and there are over 40% reduction in anxiety, 60% reduction in depression. I forget what it is, something like 60% improvement in sleep. Again, let's just underline that you're re-regulating your nervous system, which is a global change throughout your body. And why many stress techniques don't work, it's very good to breathe. Everybody says, just breathe.
Yeah.
We tell children, just breathe when they're upset.
Yeah.
It doesn't change your perception. It calms you. But if you use heart rhythm coherence, the techniques and the biofeedback training we give you, it changes how the heart and brain talk to each other. It synchronizes the heart and brain. So remember what I said?
Yeah.
It opens up the bigger picture thinking, the frontal lobes. Willpower alone does not create behavior change. Because if your heart's not into it, if you don't believe it, and if you're not in sync, you're scrambling all over the place. But when you get in sync and you want to change your behavior, drink less alcohol, eat less sugary food, whatever we compensate for when we're stressed, this helps you reset that and see from your own higher intelligence what else you could do. Because it's not just releasing your stress, it's transforming it into new perspectives and self-empowerment because your heart's involved. This heart is not just a blood pump. It's a powerful organ with its own intrinsic little brain, intrinsic nervous system, with cells that are neuronal cells that learn, feel, and remember, sensory cells in the heart that operate independent from the brain up here. And it is sensing what the body feels, the imbalances, the balances. It has a naturopathic hormone, which is a balancing hormone that has receptors in the brain. So you can't leave your heart out.
Yeah.
You have to include it. And so we've just created real simple techniques for people, like you said, to feel kindness, to activate that coherence through finding something you're grateful for in the moment and that you can feel grateful. Your pet, your baby when the child was born, it doesn't matter whatever evokes that feeling is going to start moving your autonomic nervous system, which is reflected in your heart rhythm, into that coherent rolling hill waveform.
And we'll be right back. Okay, and now back to the show. And so just to kind of walk through to give listeners an idea of what they need to do. So if they purchase this thing that you put in your ear, the device, they have the app, it will then start giving them instructions or techniques on what to do. How quickly will they start to see kind of the results from this?
If they do that 5 minutes a day, they'll see results. They'll feel results right away. And within a few days, they'll actually see a shift. That's why we have a 7-day free trial. Well, if you buy the sensor, you get lifetime access. And it walks you through 7 days to greater coherence, practice a few minutes for 7 days. You see your coherence score improve.
Yeah.
You see your life improve. You have more pause and intuitive prompting and clarity in a relationship or with your work or with your own health and the decisions you need to make. You have more of your own spirit, if you want to call, operating in your system. So you're more in tune, more in touch, because you're in sync. Your internals are in harmony. So it's very quick. And sleep improves right away. If you're a meditator, your meditations improve because you're not wandering all over for half the meditation time. It goes right to inner quiet.
Yeah, that's my problem with meditation right now. I'm trying to do it again. I used to do it every day. And my mind is so busy, I cannot get there anymore. I just can't get to that spot. And I get so frustrated because I'm going to dedicate 20 minutes to it. And then 15 minutes into it, I'm still got all these wandering thoughts in my head. And I'm just like, this was a waste of time.
Yeah, you're not alone, Zach. A lot of people, even experienced meditators, are experiencing more challenge to get in sync. But if you use the HeartMath's Inner Balance Coherence Plus sensor, you get guided by the app. There's a whole 5 days to improve meditation and mindfulness. You will be able to calm your mind because
Yeah.
your heart is calming your brain.
That sounds amazing. That looks like, I think that would just be, I mean, if I could just, even the sleep and the meditation, if I could just get those two down, that would be so phenomenal. So.
Well, try it be your own self-scientist.
Yes, I will. I'm definitely going to try it. You know, for yourself, can you talk about kind of a personal time whenever, you maybe were in that situation where your stress was high and you use these techniques or use the technology to kind of get yourself to where you want to be?
Oh my goodness, all the time I've used it. Now I'm at a baseline where I don't need to use it as much because I use the technique.
Yeah.
But we're all bombarded these days. I mean, plus you develop sensitivity,
Yeah.
Which is good when you want to be intuitive or connect with another person's care.
Yeah.
But I can watch the news and go, oh my God. And if I'm not careful, my mind will project, as I'm sure your listeners can relate to this, what might happen? Where is this going to go? And you can get into doom scrolling on the social media.
Yes, that's me.
Doom projections. And when I sense that starting to happen, I'm through experience. I say, oh, wait, no. I know where that'll lead. And I shift back to heart focus. Yes, it's heart focused breathing, but you're breathing through this area that starts to smooth out the autonomic nervous system's pattern. Heart focused breathing, and then this is a quick coherence technique I'm sharing. Start with heart focused breathing for a few breaths until you feel your energies calming, and then you continue it and you activate intentionally one of those heart feelings, one of those genuine heart feelings. When I teach children, it's often chocolate chip cookies that they love or grateful for. That's great because they go right into coherence. I will evoke a feeling of my connection with nature.
Yeah.
That's the easiest thing for me. And I just breathe that quality, that feeling. And then I know, because I've been hooked up to brainwave machines, it's my alpha rhythms are synchronizing. And then I ask, once I do that for a minute, and I'm not talking 20 minutes meditation, a minute or two until I really feel in sync, then I will ask my heart, what would be a more appropriate response to this situation? Or how should I really handle it? And lately, my heart has said, take a news break. Just get yourself recalibrated. The world's going to continue on.
Yeah.
Stop watching the news or scrolling for a few days until you're reset, and then look at the headlines and maturely go back into looking at it. And it works for me. So that's one example. The another example for me is, and we all have experienced this, I'm sure your listeners, somebody says something and you feel our word bumped. It's like, oh, she shouldn't, how dare they? Why did they do that? I mean, the whole, right then, that's a hard one because the ego is rattled. But that right there, you can do the heart focused breathing, let the thoughts of that other thing go, think, but feel your gratitude for your puppy and just soak in that, or for whatever gives you that feeling of warmth, heart warmth, kindness, gratitude, appreciation, compassion. If you can't get there, compassion for yourself. All of those will move your heart rhythm into coherence. And the beautiful thing about the app, the HeartMath app and the sensor, is you can watch it. And that's so empowering. It's like, I did that. Wow, it really did work. And then you ask your heart intelligence, as we call it, question. And very often you'll get even a one-word response, like mine is, just let it all go. I guess that's 4 words, but I think of it as one. And then you go, huh. So you're really becoming we call it heart intelligence, but you're becoming in charge of yourself.
Yeah. What do you think? I mean, this sounds like this is the future of stress management, right? So, I
Yes.
mean, have you are you thinking about like what's next, or do you think this is kind of what people need right now, or is there going to be something new coming out that you're working on in the future that's
Yeah.
going to even go be above and beyond this?
Yes, to both.
Okay.
It is what people need now, and personal coherence, increasing our personal heart, brain, body coherence.
Yeah.
But then as we do that, our heart's also putting out 2.5 watts of power with every beat. And the electromagnetic field of the heart can be measured 3 feet away from the body. And what you're feeling, stress or bliss or anything in between, is broadcast like a radio wave. Think of your heart as a radio transmitter and receiver. That's how we pick up on each other's vibrations, each other's vibes.
Yeah.
You can walk into a room where the two people are facing opposite directions and you feel like, oh my God, they've been arguing. You feel like you can cut the air with a knife.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's the energy and the frequency, the pattern, the information pattern from the radio waves of their hearts. Or you can walk into a cathedral and go, and you feel the atmosphere, the energetic field uplifted from all the heart coherence of love.
Yeah.
And you can feel the energy when people are loving. So now we're studying social coherence. It's like, how do we help people get along with each other? Because if we don't learn as humanity get along beyond our biases and rigid beliefs, we're doomed.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, if we can hear each other get into coherence, then talk. It makes all the difference. John Gottman, one of the most renowned couples therapists in the world, uses our heart rate variability device when the court has ordered a divorced couple to have therapy or to communicate, and he will have them each get into coherence before they can even talk.
Oh.
And that changes the whole conversation because there's now a care and a connection and a higher mind talking instead of the lower reactivity. And so to resolve separation between human beings, we want to create team coherence in schools and workplaces. And that opens up co-creativity. It cuts meeting times. And we've done research on all this. So we really developed a program on how do you activate the heart of teams and get
Yeah.
team coherence. And there's a team coherence assessment. So then going from there is, how is this affecting people across the world? How do we get global coherence? And the HeartMath Institute has really researched that with magnetometers and measuring the Earth's field and the geomagnetic field and seeing that the Earth's systems, the frequencies of the Earth actually overlap the cardiovascular frequencies of the heart.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're in coherence, we're more in sync with nature and the Earth.
I had a friend that, I work from home and some days I don't, especially living in Boston, I don't leave the house sometimes for a week at a time because you just like the time goes by. And, he was telling me how unhealthy that is. And I need to get grounded and I need to go outside and just be, I love hiking. I love being in nature and stuff. But in the winter in Boston, it's a little more difficult. But he's like, whenever you do go for a walk, and he said something that I never thought I would do, and he says, just go out and like hug a tree, like put your arms around a tree and hug it and just kind of feel it because it's going to help you be less stressed and it's just going to kind of clear you. And I did it and it actually worked. Like it actually made me feel a lot better, just kind of just being in nature, even if it was 13 degrees Fahrenheit outside, I still felt really good kind of just being out there and being around this tree and stuff. So I just think those little things too sometimes just help you kind of regulate yourself and feel a little better.
Absolutely. Well, there's a reason for that. When you are open in nature, like people say when they've got problems, take a walk in the woods,
Mm-hmm.
take a walk on the beach, and you'll feel different. Well, you do, or hug a tree if you're because nature resonates to the same frequency. It's called zero point 0.1 hertz as the coherent heart rhythm. So when you're in heart rhythm coherence, your cardiovascular rhythm is at zero point 0.1 hertz. And that's nature's resonant frequency. So now you're tuned into nature, and that helps realign your whole nervous system.
Yeah. Another interesting thing I'll tell you is that I bought this little device that I found online, and it's on my nightstand, and it sends out a frequency. I think it's 7.83 hertz or something like that, and it's supposed to help you sleep better. And I have to say, I have started sleeping a little bit better since buying this little box and having it turn on. And yeah, it's like the first couple of nights I slept incredibly well, and then I got to keep doing it. I think with your with the HeartMath and then with that, I think maybe I could start getting a good night's sleep because I've always had sleep issues. So
Yeah,
that's
well, Zach, the Schumann resonance, the ionosphere around the Earth, is
that's the Schumann
7.8.
is the name of the company that I bought it from. Yes.
Yeah, it's 7.8 hertz. So it's tuning your brain waves, your alpha rhythm, to that. That's why our HeartMath device, when you get into coherence, it's not zapping you with a frequency.
Yeah.
It's just helping you breathe and shift your focus to the heart to change your heart rhythm to 0 0.1 hertz, which is the frequency from the center of the earth. So
Wow.
now you've got, if you use them both and you get into coherence before you go to sleep, now you're in tune with the core of the earth, the heart of the earth, and you're in tune with the brain of the earth, the Schumann resonance.
Yeah. Well, maybe. I mean, I'm definitely into trying all this, and the when I bought the Schumann device that I bought, I was like, I'll try it, and
Yeah.
I'm open minded about things, and then it actually works. So HeartMath is what I'm gonna try next, and add that to it, and maybe I'll start having a more stress free life. So
Well, most people do because you're the one doing it.
yeah,
That's the empowerment, and the heart drives the whole system. So you can't lose. And people can download the HeartMath app and use the camera on their phone to pick up their heart rhythm pattern and actually show them what's happening. And the sensor that I held up, which is what you really want for lifetime access,
yeah,
actually is much more reliable. But to just get a feel of what it is, you can download the HeartMath app for free and play with it, and it'll help you onboard you into coherence, and you'll feel the shift. You'll go, wow. And the sensor itself will take you into a whole new coherence baseline.
that's amazing.
So people have tested it. There's thousands, it's 100,000 of these sensors we've sold. It's being recommended by health professionals, psychiatrists, cardiologists.
Yeah,
It's being used in workplaces. In fact, the Army, all 4 branches of the armed services use it. Olympic athletes use it. Navy SEALs use it. And so do law enforcement for first responders so
yeah,
they can quickly get back in center. And now we're at a point, we just raised some investment where we're going to do marketing and really try to get this to the world. Because to answer your question, we feel if we can get 100 million people throughout the world, whatever, everybody has a smartphone, downloading the
yeah.
app, getting into coherence, we can really begin to create more social coherence, harmony, and team coherence in families, workplaces, and on the planet.
Yeah, maybe make everybody a little bit more kinder.
Yes,
We need that in this world. So,
we sure do.
well, thank you, Deborah. This has been an amazing conversation. I will put the link to the website if anybody's listening. It's heartmath.com. I will
Yep.
put a link in the description of this video or podcast that you're listening to. You can go there and you can download the app, and you can buy the sensor as well. And yeah, thank you. This was so fascinating to me. And again, I'm so into these type of things, and I believe that they work, and it's worth a try. That's how I feel about it.
Right. Well, Zach, once you get the sensor and do the 7 days to greater coherence, just a few minutes, I'd love to hear your experience.
I will. I will definitely let you know. I will send you an email, or maybe even have you back on and we can talk about it.
That would be great. I'd love to do that. That would be fun.
Well, thank you so much, Deborah. It was a pleasure meeting you. If this episode resonates with somebody you know, which I'm pretty sure everybody probably has somebody that they know that's pretty stressed out, please share this episode. And I'll just say one more thing before we end. This is also HSA, FSA eligible, which is great. And I have found out from my FSA card all these things that you could get with those that was never available before. And so that's a really great thing. And I feel like I'm really trying to sell this to people, and I'm just telling them what's on the website. So.
Thank you. Well, people need it. I'm on a passionate mission. I'd give it away if I could.
Yeah. Well, it was a pleasure meeting you. And everybody, please be sure to make a comment and share this if you think this resonates with somebody you know. And thanks again for being on, Deborah.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.